Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. It's your girl, Sade. Hey, bitches.
It's your girl, Charles Pinky.
I didn't know we were singing and I'm not prepared. It's Glynn. Oh, I kind of sang.
That was melodic.
Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. I didn't know we were recording right now. So, we're just jumping into it. It's me. I'm here with Bed-Stuy Brat and Charles Pinky.
On read or reply?
Yes, jumping into my unread or reply. I am going to leave this odd change of weather in New York City on red. It was beautiful. It was sunny. It was 70s. We was outside. Stop smirking, Chelsea, because I feel like you're about to be like, well, I live in California.
72 here. It was 71 yesterday.
Poolside all weekend.
75
right.
The day before.
So, it was cute. The girls were feeling our oats. We was outside. Today, I kid you not, I was about to go get the bubble. I was like, oh,
That's
no.
ridiculous. This is unreal.
It was cold and windy and little droplets of rain, and it was terrible. And I just need New York to make up its mind, because it's like, are we outside or are we inside? Are we inside or are we outside? Like, I'm not doing this with y'all anymore. I'm really tired of it. As a Black person, I require sunlight and sun, vitamin D. Y'all are giving drear. It's giving London. It's giving sad places that I don't want to be. So yeah, I'm good on that. That was my red. Reply. Oh my God, I'm replying. Okay, I'm half replying to, I'm kind of like a pothead again.
Oh my God.
It's so crazy. Like, it's so crazy. So if you don't know this about me, I love to go to the movies to sleep. Like, I think the movie theater is the ideal place to catch an amazing nap. You binge out on snacks and you have like fountain soda. And like, if you're an adult who cares about your body, hopefully you're not consuming fountain soda all the time. So you're just like, oh my God, what a treat. And then you crash in a dark, beautiful space. And I just love it. So I took my ass to the iPick, which is like this bougie ass movie theater. We're in these little pods and the seats recline. And I saw that
all the movie theaters here do that.
Whatever, girl. All the movie theaters in LA recline. Go to Inglewood. They recline.
I was gonna say, what about on La Brea?
Inglewood is very nice. Don't let the TV fool ya. It's getting gentrified.
No, I know y'all got that Sophie Stadium. But anyways, it was like, I had a whole plan. I went to go see that Harry Potter Dumbledore shit, but I had never seen the first one, so I had no idea what was going on. And then I decided to smoke before, so I really had no idea what was going on. Unfortunately, iPick wasn't serving food that day because it was Easter, and they were like, we didn't get our shipment of food. And I was like, so you took my 25 American dollars, and now you think I'm gonna sit here and eat popcorn and M&Ms like I'm at Court Street movie theater? No, absolutely not. So I looked at the girl who worked there and I was like, well, I'm bringing food.
I'm getting food.
Yeah, I literally like, I'm bringing food in here. And she was like, well, if we can't see it, we can't say anything. I was like, bet. Why did we go to a PF Chang's? Get mad food
because you were smelling up the theater.
Smuggled in like a thing of kung pao chicken.
What? In a movie theater? Ew, that is so gross.
It was the ghetto, and I was high as hell, enjoying every fucking bite.
Was this like a matinee?
Like 7 p.m. and you're in your little.
Oh my God! You lucky I wasn't sitting next to you, because I would have been like, what's that food? Wow, it smells in here. Wow, I can't concentrate on the movie because of this smell.
You're in your own little pod. 1, 2, they already serve food. Like, they serve like fucking like tuna over crispy rice. So what the fuck is the difference with my kung pao chicken? I'm like, y'all didn't have food, so what was I supposed to do?
Did everyone else have food? Did everyone else order food?
I don't know. They probably was fucked up and just got popcorn and M&Ms. I don't know. I can't help them.
Like,
the fucked up part though, where I'm saying I'm slightly replying, is because usually I smoke with my man and we're just like high in bed together and go to sleep. I have not had to interact with other human beings high. Whew. This man was trying to take my order. He was asking me stuff. I was like,
oh
like,
my
just
God.
I love interacting with people high. It's so funny.
Just laughing at everything. And like, we're smuggling in food and these people come and like take your order. So we got like we have like a full table of food. And then they're like, can I get you something? And we're just like, like, it was so ridiculous, but I loved every minute of it. I did. And then I fell asleep and it was great.
I feel like I would feel so stressed sleeping in the movie. Like I would feel like I need to keep my eyes open. I'm missing something.
Yeah, I can't
sleep with things on.
Well, I don't go with any intent of processing the film. Like,
it's just a $50 nap.
Right.
It's a $50 nap. And it's a nice reset. I highly recommend it. I'm going back and I'm gonna bring an eye mask and a blanket.
Shut
up.
Just
on your couch.
Go to one of those nap places that they have in the city. There's things that are made for that.
No, because the other thing that I enjoy is the sound. Like, I love how loud
put on a movie on
your
television.
It feels like a, I don't know, like a security blanket.
I'm willing to entertain this, I guess. I don't know. I feel you got to be high for it, though.
I mean, I fall asleep in every single film. My ex on our third date took me to the movies and literally was like, so you slept the whole time? And I was like, damn. It's like without fail, I'm knocked.
Can't take her.
I like can't sleep in a movie and I can't pee. Like, I will literally squeeze my pee in. Because I don't want to miss the movie.
Oh, nah. But yeah, so that's my story. And now I'm gonna go home, smoke my little joint. Mind you, I could take like 3 hits. It's hilarious. And go to bed. Can't wait.
I did have some edibles recently and it was amazing.
Really?
I had the best sleep of my life. It was fantastic. I felt on air.
Well, you know, in California, you can just like go to the corner store and like there's weed.
You could go to the corner store in Brooklyn, girl.
But you want that synthetic weed that they sell at the corner stores in Brooklyn? Who's buying weed at a corner store in Brooklyn?
Honestly, they're really getting out of control. They be having these little stores. They call it like Zaza Land.
They do have those, and they'll be like mad colorful and have like little like animated weed nuggets and shit.
Okay, but for people who are new to smoking, I don't suggest going to a place like that. It's unregulated and it's dangerous. There's Mother Chelsea.
Ronald Reagan Pinky.
Say no to drugs. Yeah. Well, good for you. I'm glad you've joined the weed gang.
Thank you. I don't think I will smoke weed with any of y'all. I think I'm just going to keep it to my small little confined experiences.
That's good.
Who said I wanted to share my weed anyways?
I'm just saying, I still notice the like little bits of anxiety at times. And then I'll be like, ooh.
That is so interesting. Maybe you just like haven't found your right strain.
I don't know. For a moment, I was like on Instagram and I was like, wow, everyone is ugly and awful and terrible people. Like, it was really fucked up. It was like, I went to this existential place about how Instagram is like full of vanity and sadness and everyone needs to go there for self-gratification. And like, I don't know how my brain goes there. And that's why I don't smoke weed. Cause I just be doing too much.
Like how I am when I smoke.
I'd be doing too much.
Wow. I'm like literally the opposite. Like, I said something and I know it's kind of fucked up because I think Rue says it in Euphoria and she's like, I have to take drugs to be myself. It's fucked up to say that. But I'm like, when I smoke weed, I feel more like myself. Like, I just feel relaxed, calm. I actually have no anxiety. Like, yeah, it just feels great. I'm like, wow, I just don't care. It's great.
It's funny because I'm sorry that this has now become a whole introduction about marijuana, but like, when I was younger, it was amazing. And I think now that I'm older and I get more like critical and I'm not normally a critical person, it's like the opposite. Whereas people who are like more anxious and probably like without weed are more like in the weeds of things. It's like, it calms them down. So I don't know what the fuck happened. All I know is I smoked 2 blunts to the face, hot box in a car in Hartford, Connecticut in 2012. And I've never been the same.
I mean, a hot
Bro.
box is tough. A hot box is tough. Like a hot
After
box
that
can
day,
fuck you
I
up.
just, something was off.
Yeah, a hot box.
I hit my bowl in my parents' living room and was never the same. Was tweaking by
Well,
myself,
when you buy weed from the corner store, that's what
La La
happens.
Land.
no.
Right. Maybe get some real weed.
Well, guys, if you too struggle with marijuana, let us know.
I love marijuana. I think it's a
Who are you
great
guys?
drug. Great drug.
I'll hop in. I'm gonna reply to my weekend. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I went to this town in the mountains in Mexico called Quetzalan, but the time that I went, it was raining and I missed this episode that we had to record. I was sleeping in some random person's bed and it was wet and damp and drama. This time the weather was fucking stunning. We went with a group of 8 people. My friend got the Sprinter to take us from Mexico City up there.
I saw that. How the fuck did y'all do that?
Girl, don't even know. Have no clue. In the Sprinter, chilling. Went to the like little rest stop. Got mad beers, making micheladas in the car on the way. Went up to this like eco lodge cabin situation that my friend's family owns. And for the weekend, he was throwing like a music festival there, starting Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday was like a day party. And we were like jokingly calling it Quetzchella because last weekend was Coachella. So the first night there was all these different DJs. A couple people in our group were DJing, popping ass music. The next day there was a cumbia band that was like a 10-person band. Mad fun, and we're up in this place in the fucking mountains. This view is crazy. There's a pool like right on the edge of this like mountain. And like the Sunday.
We can put in the show notes if anyone ever wants to go there. It is such a dope location.
So fire. The Sunday, the weather was so perfect. One of the guys on our trip was DJing. We're just drinking margaritas, swimming, like so iconic, amazing. What I'm gonna leave on red is something that's amazing about this place is they have tons of waterfalls and you can do tons of excursions and shit. And it was just hitting me more and more that a bitch can't swim, and that shit is so annoying.
You can't swim?
No.
But like not like, did you like to get through the waterfall? Like
we didn't go to that one. Thank God, I was glad that we didn't go to that one. But we went to one that
You need to take a
was
swimming class. That's a life skill.
No, so here's the thing. Speaking of the weed shit, like I grew up in my preschool daycare, there was like a pool in there. We had to swim every single day. Like I used to swim. And then I had like 3 near drowning experiences in my youth.
Okay.
And then it just like fucked me up.
You're like so scared.
Yeah, I guess so. Like actually I almost drowned in the fucking waterfall, bro. Like we were trying to go from like the shore to go underneath the waterfall. I really wanted to like feel the waterfall hit my back. And I was with one of my new friends. And I was like, I know it gets deep in the middle, like, so I'm gonna hold on to you. Let me know when it gets deep. He's like, it's fine, let's go, I'll let you know when it gets deep. Immediately it gets deep. Like I put my foot down, I feel nothing. I thought I was gonna have like at least 5 steps. It was instant. I started tripping. I was pulling the poor boy underneath the damn water, like OD. The next thing I know, I turn around, there's a lifeguard with the ringlet thing, holding out his arm to pull me in.
Wait, that was this past
drama.
Weekend?
Yes, this past weekend.
You just gotta get your like doggy paddle, like
wear floaties.
And your confidence.
They were gonna give me floaties. I've been in floaties before that were perhaps defunct because I still was sinking, deflated. I don't know. I did go like scuba diving in Grenada, and the water was hella fucking deep with just like a little like tube thing underneath of me. By the grace of God, I'm so glad I did that because they have like those underwater like statues and shit.
Like the museum.
And yeah, I would have been so tight if I didn't see that. That's just the thing. I'm like, damn, there are things I'm missing out on because I don't know how to do things.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't fuck with like underwater and then I gotta breathe out of a thing. Like, nah.
Yeah, I don't love that either.
I
always think I'm gonna see a shark.
Because you're just like floating, you know? I don't know. It was OD. We went to this one waterfall that was absolutely stunning, gorgeous, amazingly beautiful. And like you had to do a pretty long swim across to get to the waterfall, and everybody went across, and I was just chilling on the shore with these people's dogs, like fronting like I was gonna watch the dogs, like I'll just chill with the dogs. Whole time, even if I wanted to go over there, I fucking couldn't. So I'm gonna sign up for the Y this summer. I didn't do it before because low-key is mad expensive, which is ridiculous. It's like $600 or something, maybe more, for
the
fucking
whole
swim
summer?
lessons, like 4 lessons or something like that. I'm like, I
Maybe
don't even know how
do
to
it
swim
because
after
it's
that.
great. It's great exercise.
Yeah, you'd be good in 4 lessons.
Maybe. I had started to learn how to swim when I was in the Peace Corps. One of my friends there was literally like going to the Olympic trials for swimming. Like she's a bomb ass swimmer. So we started off, she taught me how to float, and then the bitch left the fucking Peace Corps. So she left me with the one skill. But I feel like with the floating, I'm already like a third of the way there.
Listeners, will Glynn learn how to swim first or drive first? Let's have a poll.
I'm gonna do swimming because I'm gonna just sign up for the class. That's easier. Like that feels contained. Driving feels like a very like a process. Like lots of lessons. I gotta take the 5-hour class again. My fucking road test is about to expire. I'm gonna take the road test again. Like that shit, this is gonna be another year at the least.
So like what
just
happens
schedule
when
the
you're like a
appointment to take the
grown-ass woman and
test.
you don't know how to drive? Like I
I'm
know some of
entering
those
in
She's
with-
gonna think it's cool. She's gonna think it's a story.
No, because I met grown women that can't drive.
Man.
I met some women that can't drive and I was like,
Roger,
oh, this is
come get me.
embarrassing. I thought it was unattractive. They were like, yeah, well, my son takes me everywhere I need to go. And I'm like, I'm not waiting for my fucking son to come get me. However, I'm entering into the new world and I'll have a fucking hovercraft in 10 years or some shit. I don't know. I'll take Ubers until then. I'll get there. I'll learn how to drive eventually. It's just not a priority right now. I'm gonna get the swimming. I'm about actually when we hang up, I'm gonna sign up for my swim classes.
Harold, come get me from the Y.
Right. How are you getting to the swim classes? What if the train breaks down?
On my
You're gonna be on a train.
On my feet. I'm going right down there to the Bedford YMCA, baby. Like. Anyway, go ahead, Chelsea.
I don't know why that whole story was fucking hilarious to me. I'm glad you didn't drown them.
Essential Glynn.
I'm
like,
glad you did not drown.
It's deep. I'm like, yeah.
It happened in 2 fucking seconds. 2 seconds, and literally I'm
She thought the water was
boy,
gonna
drowning him, and he's
give you little
out.
steps. Yeah.
But my question is, not to interrupt you, Chelsea, what was your plan? Like, okay, tell me when it gets deep. Once it gets deep, like what were you going to do?
I kept asking him that. That's why I think I got annoyed or like more freaked out and started pulling him because I was like, okay, you said you were gonna do something here.
That tells me it wasn't even that deep.
No, it was mad deep. Like, I don't know how deep it was. I couldn't feel the bottom. Could not feel the bottom. And he was like, I'll let you know. And I literally kept asking him, okay, but then what are we gonna do when we get there? Can I get on your back? Like, what's the plan? And he just was like, I'll let you know. It was poor planning. I think I didn't feel supported. And then what was I gonna do? Put on the fucking, they told me to put on the little ring thing and go across. I probably should have put the fucking ring on. I don't know. Goddamn. Anyway, Chelsea.
Well, for reply, let's see. For reply, I would say this past weekend, I had friends come and it was like pretty busy. Like we went to UCLA has like an open track where you can work out. So they all worked out and I watched, and that was pretty fun. And then we like ate really well. Like the food was great. Yeah. I mean, I actually took an edible before this episode, so we can continue.
Nothing to leave on red?
No.
So we can continue.
Nothing to leave on red. Yeah. No. Life is good. Move to California. I'm convincing people one at a time, and it's actually quite successful. I'm like a little mastermind. People are actually moving out here, or at least saying that they have plans to do so in the next 2 years. So see you guys out here soon. It's great.
I love that you love it. I love that you're happy because you were nervous.
I was gonna say I love that for you. I don't know. It sounds really great, but then I'm like, when, how, what, where, you know?
I know, it's like you kind of have to be like kicked out or like,
yeah.
But
if I make a lot of money, like a shit ton of money, that I could just be like, I'm gonna just get a crib in California. Sure, absolutely. So if anyone wants
For
to
the
sponsor
record,
me,
one swim class at the Bedford YMCA is $184 for one class to just learn how to
Well, yeah, you have to
go
buy the
underwater.
package.
I gotta figure this out. This is crazy.
well, girl, you can't be drowning people and embarrassing yourself out here. So figure it out.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that for the month of May and be ready for the summer. I just can't imagine myself actually
Girl,
swimming.
where you
though.
swimming? Coney Island?
Girl, I'm going to fucking Spain this summer. I'm about to be in the Canary Islands. I'm about to be in
Oh, it's gonna be
beach
fun.
house.
When are you
Yes,
going
ma'am.
to learn to swim between now and
The month of May?
Going
I'm
to
gonna get
Spain.
aggressive. We get aggressive.
We'll check in on May 30th.
we will check in and she's
Okay.
gonna be drowning people?
Anybody have a hotline bling?
No, I do not.
Oh, look, Chelsea thinking.
It's not really a hotline bling, but I've been getting like strange text messages from people.
What do they say?
The last one, the last one says, "Hi, want to come over? CUM. I was picturing movie night and a surprise ending after."
You must be kidding me.
Kind of hot.
Who the fuck is this? Oh my
Who
God.
is this?
So I wrote, "Who is this?" They wrote, "Oh my God, that's so annoying. I must have messaged the THA wrong guy. Would you want to catch that movie with me anyways?"
Shut up. Somebody's fucking pranking you.
I said, "I'm going to call the police for harassment." They stopped.
We're gonna call this person's number on the Patreon. So if you want to hear what happens, you need to subscribe.
Oh.
What if they're a murderer?
Yeah, well, you will call from one of your phone
block
numbers.
block the number or some shit. You gotta figure out who that is.
But isn't that so weird?
That is.
I was like, if somebody's playing on my
Somebody's
phone.
trolling you, bro.
Yeah. And then
Why
like,
are you playing on my phone?
but as soon as I said I'm calling the police, they stopped.
You would fucking make that reaction. You would say that.
Yeah, she's not wasting time.
I really don't like that. I don't like that someone's playing on my phone. Me
chill.
don't
Like an old lady.
Right. Stop playing on the phone.
All right, y'all.
Y'all really make me laugh.
Let's
That
hop
was
into
the
the
hot
black girl doing shit.
Let's do it.
My good sis, that's a black girl doing.
So this week, our black girl doing shit is Gianni of First Gen Money Musings. From overworked charter school teacher to work optional real estate investor, Gianni is head muse and creator of First Gen Money Musings, a strategy and inspirational platform for first generation wealth builders manifesting financial freedom in alignment with their holistic dreams and goals. Gianni shares her financial journey openly while providing action-oriented content to help fellow exceptionally diverse wealth builders level up to access the life most meant for them. Hell yeah. Welcome, Gianni. I have to ask before we even really get into this, I love that you call yourself the head muse of First Gen Money Musings. What does that mean to be the head muse?
Yeah, just that I am the source of this creative inspiration for our respective financial freedom journeys. But this mission, this community and space is not just of me. It's a collective effort. So just as people are inspired by me, I'm inspired by them. They're inspiring each other. So, you know, we're all muses for one another.
Word.
All right, y'all, it's time for the group chat.
And now let's get into this. Tell us about your journey from the classroom to work optional real estate investor. Because I remember when I first met you, we were both teaching and kind of like lamenting on all of the craziness that it is. Love the kids, but like the checks aren't always hitting, the flexibility is not always there. So like, what made you leave and what was that journey like?
Yeah, so pretty much it's so funny. It started in, I want to say like 2018. Had just moved into a new apartment in Bedside with one of my classmates from Colombia. And she's white, but she's from a financially marginalized background. And we had to share our finances. when we were applying for the apartment, and she actually worked for a nonprofit, I believe ACLU, and was making, I want to say maybe 20 to 30K less than I was at the time. Like, I think I was making high 60s and she was in the 40s, but she had over like $20,000 saved in her savings alone, and had a substantial amount in her retirement account. And that's because she had just been so aggressive about saving and investing her money. And that was kind of the first time that I saw like, all right, well, here's this person who's, it's not about what you make, but what you keep, essentially. That's what I had learned from her. And it really motivated me to get my ish together, because I'm like, oh no, girl, like, come on, we gotta, look, we don't wanna be working forever, especially in this job that we do not like. So from then I started aggressively saving my money and investing and learning about personal finance and different ways I could be creative with my finances. So at some point I had gotten to a point where I could save like 50% of my income, and started learning about how folks were able to purchase multi-unit properties with little to no money down. And one of my inspirations for that was Kendra Barnes of The Key Resource. And I want to say she's a DC native, I'm not sure, but she essentially had gotten funding from the USDA to go to a historically Black college completely free, and was working at a government job and had learned essentially about house hacking. So she had purchased her first multi-unit property, and you know, I think it was 3% down, or maybe it was even 0% down for whatever program. So then I started learning about options like that for myself. And I had set out an intention. I remember posting it on my personal Instagram, like, I'm going to be a real estate investor within a year. And, you know, I was a little bit nervous about that, because I'm like, I'm still, you know, making not more than $70,000, but we gonna see how we gonna make this shake. And within that year, I had purchased my first building in Pennsylvania, and that is, you know, my core real estate investment property, and I'm super excited to have that. And it was definitely a catalyst for my wealth building journey.
Yes, I feel like Sade might be able to relate to some of this now, because she's in the midst of trying to get her investment property. She is shaking her head. For those that can't see her, Sade, what are some of the like issues or challenges you're running up against? Maybe Gianni can relate. Or
yes, or give me some knowledge. I mean, I think the hardest thing, and that's why I'm so shocked in terms of like the income you were making, is that there's a lot of money that goes into real estate, like upfront, that like I think a lot of people aren't transparent about. So you think like, oh, okay, like I get this loan, and then like people like speak of these like vague closing costs and like all these other vague things that you need to have. And then when you start really like digging into the dollars and cents, at least for me, it seems like it's pretty damn expensive, and it's very challenging to do. And then knowing that you want to go into something, and then if for it to be profitable, you're like there's a lot of risk seemingly to me, to get involved. So I guess my next question would be like, how did you save, if you don't mind being transparent around how much you saved, and like what that process looks like for you?
Yeah, for sure. So so my school had paid for my master's degree, and then I got a salary increase of about $10,000. So I think toward end of summer in 2018, I was making around $76,000. And I had 2 roommates at the time, which allowed me to save quite a bit. So I can't remember what my exact salary was at the time, but yeah, I was pretty much one paycheck was going straight to savings. So I think it was over $2,000, I want to say. So and I was also contributing to my 403B, which is the nonprofit equivalent of a 401k. And I want to say giving like 15% of my pre-tax income.
Whoa.
So that allowed me to like have, I mean, I was taxed at a lower tax bracket because I was contributing a significant portion. So I still had a good amount to take away, and pretty much, and I'm an aggressive investor as well. So high risk, looking for a stock heavy portfolio with high growth. So a lot of tech stocks, real estate. And yeah, I think my return on my portfolio during that time was like nothing crazy, but like about 30%. And I had I want to say like a 3 or 4% match from my employer. So that allowed me to have like a substantial nest egg there. And I think I also maxed out my Roth IRA. So that's about $6,000 in post-tax income in the real estate market. And within that year, I had just in my liquid savings, I think $24,000. So
in a year, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was I was not playing games. I was like, no, like I'm about this retire early life. Like, we're gonna make this happen. And also I was very much motivated by the fact that I did not like my job. I was extremely depressed, and I'm someone who, like, finances it's an emotional need for me. So I need to be financially secure. And in order for me to feel confident quitting my job at some point, my goal is to have at least a year's worth of expenses saved up. So that's why I was saving my money so aggressively. I was primarily cooking meals at home. I was still going out with friends, but mostly to local spots, which was pretty easy living in Bed-Stuy. Like there's a lot of cute little spots in the neighborhood at the time, or if I'm gonna take an Uber, sharing it with friends, and pre-gaming, not buying drinks at the bar. But I did have a rule: if it was a Black-owned spot, I would buy at least one drink. So that was the only time that I was like purchasing alcohol. And that was pretty much it. And then I started looking at property late 2019 in Philly, because I knew I was priced out of New York. And Philly was still affordable at the time. And so I was looking for a multi-unit property where I could do a what's it called? What is a loan called? Oh my God. I don't know why I'm blanking on it, but it's the one where FHA loan.
FHA. I was like,
yes.
Conventional FHA.
Yeah. FHA. So either the 403B FHA, which is a renovation loan, or just a standard FHA. So I was looking for at least 2-unit properties. And what's interesting is with my credit score and the amount I had saved up, and I didn't have any commercial debt, so no credit card debt or anything like that. I did have about $15,000 in federal student loans, but because my interest rate was under, my highest one was maybe like 3.8%. It wasn't anything crazy. So I got pre-approved for a single family. It was like 380 something, but then when I said I was actually looking at multi-units, it allowed me to be approved for more. So I think about $500,000 is what I was approved for. And that's because they consider rental income as a part of your whatever your income would be. Right. So that allowed me to broaden my horizon, but I still wanted to stay, closer to what I had been approved for the single family, just to be financially strategic. And I saw a good amount of places. There were a lot of great options. And funnily enough, the place that I ended up going for, I had seen it in November, but then I actually met with my realtor in January of 2020. And I was like, there's no way this property is going to be here, because it's just kind of like a unicorn property. And it was actually listed on my birthday, which is November 8th. So that's the first time I saw it. But I don't know if y'all are super familiar with Philly, but it's near where Made in America is. So right by the Philadelphia Museum of Modern Art, and that big old park. And I'm like, okay, like this is only listed for, it was listed for $375, and it's a store downstairs, and then upstairs is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, fully renovated, walking distance to the park, walking distance to an Aldi's, like walking distance to the main road. And it was still available in January. And so, and that area is kind of like a baby Dumbo, like if you were to go and visit. So I was like, okay, like, what's up? And my realtor was like, you should apply for it. And I was like, what? It's available. And interestingly enough, the previous offer had fell through. And I got it for less. I got it for $365. Wow. And at first they didn't want to let me use the FHA loan because it's a mixed use property, commercial and residential. And for FHA, the commercial has to be the smallest percentage of the entire property, but it was appraised at a rate of 51% residential, 49% commercial. And that is the story. I put down 11%, which was about $11,000. And some of my closing costs were covered by the seller. So that's how I was able to do it.
Wow. Wow. And clearly you did a lot of research throughout this.
Yes.
You've mentioned Kendra Barnes. Were there any other resources, books, websites that you were like referencing during that time?
Yes, absolutely. So there's another gentleman by the name of Matt Garland, and his Instagram, I want to say, is like MG, the mortgage guy. If any of you are familiar with Earn Your Leisure, it's that personal finance podcast series. MG, the mortgage guy, has a series on there where he talks about investing in real estate. So he was one of my key resources again. So I would say it was primarily, Millionaire Mindsets is also a podcast that I loved listening to and hearing from. There was also a girl from DC, her podcast is called Stacks in the City. And she was super inspiring for me because we were the same age, but by that time she had already had over $100,000 saved, and she had worked primarily government jobs as well, but she was just an aggressive like saver and investor. And she had multiple properties. So I was like, okay, I'm seeing people like me who are in my age range who are doing this. So it was incredibly inspiring.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I also heard you say like that the property was listed on your birthday. And you mentioned a couple things in telling your story where it felt like there was a lot of like divineness happening. And I noticed that even on your website, you offer coaching, and one of the phrases that you use is to, hold on, I gotta find the phrase. Oh, it was manifesting confident cash flow. What does that mean? Like, is there a manifestation element involved in this?
Yes, that's so funny. I actually don't offer that service anymore, but when I did, I'm very much a spiritual person. And I think that language and the way you think is incredibly powerful. So for me, cash is king. Yes, you can have investments set up for generational wealth. That's an absolute non-negotiable when it comes to working towards financial freedom. But having cash flow, sources that can replace, maybe one primary income source and can also take care of your liabilities is super important. So for me, just really centered on like the possibility of bringing that in and helping to facilitate the mindset that this is absolutely possible, and taking my clients from a mindset of scarcity or impoverishment to one of abundance and flow. And so one of the things I say is like, money comes to me with ease, and my prosperity is sustainable, things of that nature. So I'm always calling in that energy of wealth.
Yeah, totally.
I love that.
I was gonna add, go ahead, Chelsea, please.
I mean, I was going to ask about the name of your company, First Gen Money Musings. First Gen, why that name? Can you speak more to the name?
Yeah, absolutely. for me, it makes sense as a first generation wealth builder. So some people might refer to first generation college student or graduate or first generation American, and I'm a first generation wealth builder because I come from a background where we don't have generational wealth. There are things that I am uniquely experiencing as a wealth builder that I can speak to others who can relate directly to me. There's different ways that we have to go about strategizing things because of considerations like having to take care of family members because maybe they didn't build a retirement fund, so we are their retirement fund. Or there's the idea of like the Black tax, where you might be helping out family members because you're the person who is the most financially abundant or independent, or having to think about things like life insurance for the first time because it's not commonplace, or developing an estate plan. So my musings, or all my thoughts and things, that's where that name comes from specifically.
Yeah, something else, one of the services that you had listed or that you kind of talk about is how to get your clients to face their money fears. And I wonder if you find that being connected to the experience of being a first generation wealth builder, and what are some of the money fears that you find people have?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yes, it comes from being a first generation wealth builder. I find that many people who have similar backgrounds to me, they are afraid of talking about money. They don't feel comfortable. Maybe money is a huge source of tension or alienation in their family. It's associated with negative things, like such as not having enough or having to make certain sacrifices that feel really uncomfortable and disruptive to their happiness because of money. And I find that many of my clients have been like avoidant because of their fears around money and just not wanting to engage that. And I mean, even if you aren't a first generation wealth builder, money is a challenging topic, right? We're only recently in the country really making grounds within certain states around salary transparency. So if you just think about that level of fear on a macro scale, which is just such, there's that, and there's a juxtaposition against the way that money is so openly talked about in some of our media, right? Like, we getting money, we all of this, but then when it comes to on an intimate level, we can't have those conversations. So really facilitating an environment where we are empowered to talk to ourselves about money, talk to our communities about money, be vulnerable, take action, also be like, I'm here right now, but I'm working toward this. And that's okay, not having shame about it.
Yeah, the first thing I thought about when you said you kind of went into all these endeavors was like, weren't you scared? Like, shit is scary. There's a lot of like, I think, anxiety around the risk in it. And like, if you're not knowledgeable on certain things, or like, you can TikTok and YouTube and podcast yourself to death, but like when it really comes down to like signing a dotted line, committing to pay back a loan, and like you didn't know if you were going to get renters, like having to go through that process. So I guess I'm just curious, like, what made you feel confident to take the leap?
Yeah, because scared money don't make money.
Period.
And like, I'm like, look, if I'm unhappy now, what do I have to lose? I'm not going to sit here any longer being depressed about my situation and complaining about it because nobody's coming to save me but myself. So it's time for me to take action, and I'm going to fail forward. And so that was essentially my mindset. And I really just had a dogged approach to changing my whole financial perspective to one of abundance. And thankfully, just feeling rewarded along my journey. And it's having those things be confirmation and affirmation that I'm doing the right thing. When I first started sharing about my journey on my personal Instagram, it was kind of crazy because I was just getting so much positive feedback, and things were just kind of blowing up. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal for me, especially at first coming from a school like Columbia. I'm thinking, well, my peers are all already doing this and maybe I'm the one who's behind, but then realizing that actually that's not true. Many of us have uncomfortable relationships with money. So it was really helpful for me to be sharing my journey.
And when you think about creating wealth and like down the line where you want to kind of arrive, what does the lifestyle look like for you, I guess? So, because I'm thinking about when some people say that you're going to build wealth, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like spending a bunch of money, going on trips, buying bags. It's about like having your savings and, you know, like, so what kind of lifestyle do you envision yourself having, or like, what are you working towards?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to quote one of my friends, my good friend, Sania of Finance. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with her brand, but she's an amazing Black wealth builder as well. We're from the same class here at Columbia. And she says, I'm all about my big obnoxious bag. And I'm here for it, you know, like us just leveling up our money, having pretty much everything. So yes, we have the foundational financial solvency and that aspect taken care of, but we also want to enjoy the luxuries in life and have our assets be funding those things. So yeah, I want that nice trip to Monaco. I want that, you know, first class to Tahiti and all of that. And I also want the option to completely opt out of everything, meaning I want to retire from corporate within a few years. So that's something that I'm working toward. And having access to time wealth, that's one of the most important things to me, ownership of my time. Because especially as a person from a marginalized background, if you think about how Black people, Black Americans, we are such, we actually are quite abundant and wealthy. And there's so much that people are taking from us, drawing inspiration from, what have you. If we had full, complete ownership of our time and therefore happiness, imagine what we could accomplish. So it's like y'all taking from us when many of us have, you know, some scraps. So that's part of what motivates me to keep going as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned a little bit earlier the FIRE movement. And just for our readers who might not know, FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. It's a financial movement defined by frugality and extreme savings and investment. That's why I asked you about how you're going to live your life.
Yes.
Because when I start hearing frugality, I'm like, wait, no, but I love to spend my money. A little more on this, they say, by saving up to 70% of their annual income, FIRE retirement proponents aim to retire early and live off of small withdrawals from their accumulated funds. Yeah, it's a huge thing. I've seen these people retiring at like 35 and like moving and living on islands and chilling.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Yes.
But something else I know from your journey, that you made the transition from teaching to tech, correct?
Yes.
What was that transition like? Yeah.
Yeah, that transition was so interesting for me. I've been thinking about moving into tech since 2018, but really the pandemic was the catalyst. So in March 2020, when we went fully remote, there were a bunch of software engineering programs that were offering like free coding courses and classes so people could learn how to code. And I was like, I'm gonna just start learning how to code, you know, because there ain't no way I'm going back to the classroom after all of this. Like, I just cannot do it. It is time for me to go. So yeah, I took a free coding class. It was called like Bootcamp Prep. So I learned how to code in JavaScript and like the supporting languages. And then I also, at the time, my ex-girlfriend, she was someone who had managed to get all her schooling paid for. So she went to Howard, like fully funded. She got her master's degree from NYU fully funded with like PhD funding. So she inspired me to start to ask for more and try to get things for free. So then I started looking into scholarships, and I got a scholarship for an engineering boot camp, which allowed me, and it was like one of the top rated boot camps. So it helped me to feel more comfortable, like fully quitting my teaching job and just studying coding full time. And so, yeah, I joined a boot camp toward the end of the summer. That was about 4 months. And then I wasn't quite ready to go like looking for jobs at the time. And it was incredibly hard, y'all. Like that program was challenging. I cried every single day. It was like from 9 to 5. It was hard. Yeah. And I had been going through some personal stuff during that time too. So it was just like a lot for a transition, but I thought I had did horribly. But one of my teachers said that I had like the highest pair programming feedback. And that's when you like work with someone else to code and like build things. And he recommended me for the software engineering teaching fellowship. And also because of my background as a teacher. So, and that's one of the things I preach to now to my community, how much teachers are actually in demand for these high paying remote tech positions because of the myriad of skills that we offer, you know, as negotiators, counselors, project managers.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So that meant that I was working with the next cohort for another 4 months. And during that time, I could also like continue to learn, continue building things, networking with people, seeing what my different job options are. And by the end of the program, I had like networked. Really, I started looking for a job within the last month because I was like, I don't know if I want to be a software engineer anymore. This is hard. But so I'd started looking into roles that were software engineering adjacent, meaning they benefited from my technical expertise, but I wouldn't necessarily be in charge of like pushing out new product iterations. And so I had narrowed down a few roles, but then another one of my friends from Colombia who also taught herself how to code, like she was a paralegal, and she had, she's like very popular on YouTube. She had released a video about becoming a developer advocate at Google. And I had never heard of that. And essentially a developer advocate is a software engineer that teaches other developers about the company's product, like how to integrate it. You know, we build like sample applications, create video tutorials, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, okay, I have this teaching background. I have this strong like digital content creation background. Now I have this like, you know, fellowship and bootcamp experience. I'm just gonna go for it. And I actually started hearing back from a lot of great companies. And long story short, within 3 weeks of me finishing my fellowship, I had accepted an offer. And I work at Zoom now as a developer advocate.
Lit. Yeah, I was gonna say, I get all of us work in tech. Like Chelsea, you work in tech, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, but I'm saying that to say that you don't necessarily have to code or do like technical things to get a job in tech.
Right.
And I wonder, what are some of the perks and benefits that you found in working in tech that just made it a like compelling industry?
Yeah, well, one, the money. So I'm like, there's no cap on this bag. And I love that for me. Additionally, it's a industry where you're rewarded for learning. So the more that you learn and develop in your subject matter expertise, like the more you can earn. And that's not the case for being a teacher. You know, I was a teacher for 4 years. I had my master's, doing all these different things, yet I wasn't seeing that level of growth, and it was completely stressful. I also like that working in tech is location independent, so it allows me to travel and you know, still make the money that I'm expecting to make. My hours are pretty flexible because I know that I have like in-demand skills and that I am an asset to the company. And that's also part of why I went the software engineering route. I didn't know about all of the other types of positions that exist in tech, but for my own confidence, sometimes I have to do things the hard way because I'm like, I need to be over-prepared if I'm making this leap. So let me get the hardest thing out the way first, which for me was software engineering. And then if that didn't work out, at least I now have this technical expertise where I can translate all of the things that sometimes scare and intimidate people, and I can be an asset in that regard. So yeah, I've been loving it. My benefits are great. I love my team. And it has really allowed me just a level of happiness that I have never experienced before.
That's beautiful. I want to hop into our What Would You Do segment, which is where we get listener letters, because we have a letter that's really geared around employment. And I know that's something that you coach people on and you produce a lot of content around. So I thought maybe you can help us with that. But before we move to that, if you could name like 5 things that people should have right now, if it's like a savings account, a budget, just basic things, what would those be? Some tangible takeaways, actionable steps.
Yeah, it's personal finance is very personal. So like for me personally, I don't believe in budgeting. Not that I don't believe in it. It's like it's not something that I like to do. How I save the money I did is I hit my savings goal first. So whatever I know I can afford, that is going into the bank, either through direct deposit, and then I'm gonna work with what I have left. But beyond that, I believe in making more money. I don't think you can save your way like out of financial scarcity. Like if I want something, and that's where I kind of differ on the FIRE movement. Like, yes, I'm gonna save a lot, and I'm also just gonna keep making more. I'm gonna job hop, I'm gonna demand more money. The price is just gonna keep going up so that I can afford what the lifestyle that I deserve, quite frankly. So I would say for people to hit their savings goal first, that is a number one tangible step. And maybe you're not comfortable with the number, just start making it a habit. And if you don't want to make it a habit, set it up on auto deposit so that, even if it's $50 to start every 2 weeks, it's just going into a savings account that you absolutely do not touch. Another thing that I would recommend is investing into a retirement account. So if that's a Roth IRA, which, depending on if you make, I can't remember the maximum, but it's like low 100 something as a single person, you can contribute to a Roth IRA. And that's a post-tax account where they have like, I don't know what the maximum is now, y'all. I can't contribute to a Roth IRA anymore because of my salary, but I want to say the max is like $6,500 a year, but once you contribute, you can invest in ETFs or index funds that allow your money to be working for you and growing with the market. And conservatively, that's 6% per year. Okay, so just a quick recap: hitting your savings goal first, investing in a retirement account, be it through a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, like through your employer, so 401k, 403b, and I can't remember what the government equivalent is, but if you just Google it, it'll come up. You said 5?
Maybe 5 is ambitious. Let's go to 3. 3 is a nice number.
Beyond that, really just reflecting and thinking, like, how I'm spending my money contributing to the life that I want for myself? And that requires a lot of self-awareness because, one, I definitely believe in spending money to earn and attract money in abundance into your life. But are you spending it on the right things? So like, it's okay to, I'm a proponent, like if you want to get your nails done, your hair done, whatever, do that. Ain't nobody trying to look crusty out here. And like, you have to kind of dress and feel the part to like move into the energy that you want to attract into your life. So I'm not someone who's like, oh, you can't do all these extra things if you're trying to save money, because money is energy. It's about embodying what you seek to become. But at the same time, maybe some of your other choices aren't really aligned on getting you to that goal. So like, if you want to be a boss, right, but a lot of your money, you're having a credit card bill that's getting maxed out on fast fashion, that's not what boss girls do. No, we need to build that capstone wardrobe. So start saving the money, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just be intentional. Like, I'm not saying don't shop, but maybe you could go to the thrift store and get some more, quality pieces, what have you, after you've built your budget, instead of like blowing your money on H&M.
I love it. I think that's very
Girlies,
valuable.
are you listening?
Yes, I hope you were taking notes, girls. Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's go over to the what would you do? All right. So this person says, I am a 30-year-old publicist from New York City. I've spent my entire professional career working for various PR firms in Mexico City, which is where I've lived for the past 7 years after I graduated from college. I conduct roughly 90% of my work in Spanish, and I've worked for top clients in spirits, hospitality, and entertainment. I love what I do. I get to be creative and leverage my natural skills for connecting people. However, working in Mexico has presented a few challenges. I solely make pesos, and sometimes I feel like the scope of my work is really limited. I'd love to work with more international clients. In some ways, I'm also watching my friends back home advance in their careers and incomes, and I'm worried about catching up. I think I need to break into the US market and apply my skill set where I can earn more money. I'm nervous that I have no work experience in the States and that I have to get an entry-level position, even with 7 years of experience under my belt. How can I hack my resume to make my work experience appealing to markets in the States? Also, I haven't spent a lot of time on my LinkedIn. Is it actually important? A friend of mine told me that I can set my LinkedIn profile to let employers know I'm looking for work. But what if my boss sees that?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a lot there.
Here.
Yeah. So I'm actually developing a program, and I've been helping some of my one-on-one clients join Team Jobs ATM, and ATM stands for Jobs Apply to Me. So essentially, I have reverse engineered my LinkedIn profile as well as my clients so that we don't apply for jobs. The recruiters are coming to us and offering high-paying positions. Some of the things that I recommend folks to do is to, one, start finding those jobs that are interesting to you, pulling out those keywords and making sure to incorporate that very language into how they're talking about their respective experiences. This is important because it helps your profile and your resume to align more favorably with the ATS, or applicant tracking system. The higher you score, the more likely a recruiter is to reach out to you, and they see you as this position, right? So that's one thing. Making sure that this person creates an optimized headline for the respective roles that they're seeking. So, say I can't remember everything that they said. I'm not really familiar with publicist work, but say they were interested in tech sales. So I would put 2 to 3 related positions. So my headline would say something like customer success manager, technical account manager, and account executive, right? All separated by like an individual line. And then all my experiences would speak to that. Next, optimizing their skills section to, again, speak to those very skills that they're seeing in the job descriptions. So you might talk about something one way, like planning and development to make the system better, right? Instead, for like, say, a project management role, how they would talk about that is process optimization. So it's saying the exact same thing, but the emphasis is on using that exact language, putting that in your skill set, and that helps them, recruiters, to see you for that high paying position as opposed to like whatever else that they might be doing. So I think that kind of gets at this, what this person was asking is whether LinkedIn was important. Absolutely. It is the #1 tool used by recruiters today. And once you have your LinkedIn doing the heavy lifting for you, you really don't have to do much. For myself, I actually have to turn my open to work off because I get so many high quality emails or emails a day. Like right now it's off, and I had 3 recruiters email me and 3 recruiters message me today on LinkedIn. So that's a total of 6. And they're from companies that you recognize. So that's what I'm saying, y'all. Get on team jobs, ATM, because I like to move with ease. I don't want to do no heavy work, right?
Yes.
So I'm all about deploying the strategy to, have my experience speak for itself.
Yeah, and on that note, you had posted something recently about like you don't write cover letters.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about that. How do you get around the cover letter? Because I can't stand cover letters.
That was
People
really
still ask
funny.
for those?
I know.
Yes.
Like, I do not write cover letters either.
They do. They still ask.
Jesus.
LinkedIn has been my success. LinkedIn and network.
Yes, right. That's what I'm talking about. Using LinkedIn and network. But that was really funny because I had made a tweet about that and it like went viral on Twitter. And it was because one of my friends had DM'd me asking if I had any of my old cover letters, like for her sister. And I was like, girl, I have not written a cover letter since like maybe I was applying for a banking internship, like, a long time ago. So I decided to make like a quick mini thread, not expecting anything of it. But essentially in that thread, I talked about how I have a little template that I use where I will find a job. One, I prefer not to apply to any jobs that don't have a cover letter. But if there is one that I like and it does ask for a cover letter, it's really easy to use LinkedIn to find the recruiter because on the job, it'll usually say which recruiter posted the job. So then you can message the recruiter saying something like, hi, I see you're the recruiter for X position. I would love to connect for 10 to 15 minutes or I see that based on my experiences, this position would be a great mutual fit. Can we connect for 10 to 15 minutes about how I can, be a competitive candidate for this role? And that's all predicated on one, having the experience and also making sure that your LinkedIn is on point so that when they click on your link, they're like, yeah, let me talk to this candidate. And a lot of recruiters have really liked that approach from me because it shows confidence, being assertive and going after what you want. Also just being strategic and resourceful. They can tell that I've done my homework, and recruiters, because of the market right now, love connecting with people who are excited about a role or opportunity because sometimes they can't get a text back. So if you out here like, look, this looks like a great mutual fit. I would like to be a competitive applicant. They're more likely to help you. Yeah, so that has been my approach when I was applying to jobs.
And you mentioned something earlier about like continuing to like level up, take new opportunities. Are you of any sort of mindset that you have to spend like a year at a job or a certain amount of time without looking so that you don't look flaky? Is that a real thing?
I think it depends. I think that we're in a very interesting market right now. And I would say in tech, you have a lot more flexibility about your mobility. So I see people job hop from as little as like 6 months into a new opportunity. And it's also okay. Sometimes you get into a role and you're excited about it, but then it's not a great culture fit. Like you're not happy for whatever reason. I'm not about sticking around and doing something you don't want to do. Like life is too short. And I think the pandemic has really emphasized that for many of us. And people understand that on a more broad level too. So they understand like, okay, like this wasn't the right fit and you're job hopping. So for me, I think as long as you're there, I would say it's okay to like job hop after a year. Focus on getting what you need to out of that company, maximizing your skill set, growing, learning, connecting with folks. And then if you're trying to get that big obnoxious bag, as my friend Sania likes to say, you have to job hop. And that's what she has done, to now earn, I think her compensation is like over like 360 something thousand, like base is just 190. So, and that's just from job hopping as a product manager. And I'm like, girl, that's teaching me. Wild. So I know I need to just keep it pushing. Yeah.
I interviewed someone who was in the role for 3 months and we were like, what, like, why, like, what is this about? And he basically just like sucked the company's dick. And we were like, that's valid.
he was like, how could I miss like toss up an opportunity to work at this company? Like, you guys are the best and blah, blah, blah. And we were all like, word, you right.
Look, tell yourself. Right.
Ladies, any final questions for Gianni before we let you go?
We gonna have to exchange phone numbers because, girl,
Yes.
I'm gonna need the details. But yeah, like the questions I have would make this podcast be 10,000 hours. So we'll take it offline and I'll share
Book
the
her.
tips.
Shawty, you can book her. How about that?
True.
Gianni, tell us how we can book you, what kind of services you offer.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I my calendar is actually closed for the next 2 months, but
Well.
And yet another stream of income.
Exactly.
But I think folks, the best way to stay in touch with me would be to follow me on my social media platforms. Most active on Instagram at First Gen Money Musings, and on Twitter at it's slightly different because of the character length, but it's first the number 1 ST Gen Money Muse on Twitter, and that's where I'm most active. I will be releasing some mentorship programs down the line. I'm actually in a new business development program to help me scale my business. So I'm super excited about that. And I'll have some new offerings coming shortly once I'm done with that to just help me spread that impact, lift as I climb. And, we out here getting to this bag and this financial freedom.
A big, obnoxious bag. Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Gianni.
Thank you. This was
Thank
amazing.
you.
This really was. All right.
All right. Well, that's the show. Follow us on Instagram at Black Girls Texting, on Twitter at Black Girls Text 1, and everything else is Black Girls Texting. The Patreon is where it's at. Do we have any sweatshirts left for sale? The new ones?
We do. You can still get some.
Okay, I know we're sold out in some sizes and colors, but you can still get some. So head on over to blackgirlstexting.com and get some sweatshirts. Bye. Love you for listening.
Bye, y'all. Thanks again for listening to Black Girls Texting. Make sure to rate and review this podcast wherever you listen and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Oh, and don't forget to text every group chat you're in and tell them to check us out. Follow your girls at Black Girls Texting, and we'll see you next week. Bye.